Just a short drive outside Baghdad, there was a quiet little settlement where an elderly man named Henry was living out the final chapter of his life. He was a calm, soft-spoken, deeply wise man, the kind who didn't speak much but whose silence carried meaning. Henry had 5 sons, and the eldest was Michael, a hard-working landowner who spent his days in the fields from morning till evening, managing crops and land the way farmers do in places like rural Texas or the countryside outside Toronto. Michael worked hard, no doubt about it, but over time the pressure started to wear him down. He felt exhausted, burnt out, and deep inside he began wondering how long this responsibility would last. Every evening when he returned home tired and drained, Henry could sense his son's fatigue and growing impatience. He loved Michael deeply, but he said nothing, lowering his gaze and keeping his feelings to himself. As time passed, Henry noticed a change in Michael's behavior. He understood that his son was crushed under responsibilities and had slowly begun to feel that his old father was becoming a burden. That realization hurt Henry deeply. One evening, he gently called Michael and told him that he knew life had become heavy for him and that he would not stay long. He said that in a few days he would move to another son's house so Michael could focus on his work and life without worrying about him. Michael stayed silent. A small wave of guilt passed through his heart, but he didn't stop his father. A few days later, Henry left and went to live with his second son, Daniel, a successful businessman with plenty of money, the kind of man you'd expect to see thriving in a city like New York or London. Despite his success, Daniel was always busy, and his wife was cold and distant, barely acknowledging her father-in-law. Henry spent his days sitting quietly in a corner, carrying the pain of watching his son's love fade away. He never complained. One day, influenced by his wife, Daniel told his father that he should help in the business so his presence would at least be useful. Henry stayed silent. His bent back, trembling hands, and tired body made it clear he was no longer capable of work. Still, he didn't take it to heart. When Henry's coughing disturbed the nights, Daniel's wife complained that the old man was becoming a problem and should go live with another son. Daniel agreed and told his father that he could go elsewhere and that he would send money for treatment. There was no warmth in his words, just a practical solution, as if his father was nothing more than a responsibility. With a wounded heart, Henry left again. He then went to his third son, Thomas, a hard-working farmer. Thomas respected his father, but he had little time. He spent his days in the fields and his evenings with his wife and children. Henry's illness and deep sadness went unnoticed. Watching children being left with him while he himself was weak and unwell filled him with grief. His health worsened, and once again he quietly left. This time he went to his fourth son, Robert, who welcomed him warmly at first, but not out of love. It was greed. When Robert realized that his father had no money or hidden wealth, his attitude changed. His wife treated Henry like a burden, and soon Robert himself told his father that he could not stay because he had no time to look after him. Those harsh words broke what little strength Henry had left. With a shattered heart, Henry finally went to his youngest son, Ethan. Ethan was poor, working daily wages and barely managing household expenses, but he and his wife had pure hearts. They bought medicine for Henry before thinking of themselves, and they treated him with genuine love and respect. For the first time in years, Henry felt peace and dignity. As time passed, his health declined further and he became seriously ill. Ethan would often cry while caring for him, seeing him not as a burden but as a true father in every sense. In those final days, Ethan's concern and tears became a source of comfort for Henry. One night, Henry called Ethan close and softly told him that his time was near and that his breaths were now numbered. He prayed that God would always keep Ethan happy for the love and care he had shown. Ethan, overwhelmed with grief, asked if his father was truly happy with him and begged forgiveness for any shortcomings. Henry smiled and said that Ethan had passed the test. He then entrusted him with one final responsibility, telling him that after his death he should go to Baghdad, to Fowler Street, and find an old man named Jacob. He said that Jacob was holding a trust in his name and that whatever he gave would belong to Ethan alone, to be used for his wife and children, and that none of the other brothers were to receive anything from it. Shortly after, Henry passed away. The loss hit Ethan like lightning. His eyes filled with tears, and his wife wept deeply as well, having served Henry with sincere love. Ethan informed his brothers and invited them to the funeral. The same sons who once saw their father as a burden now gathered at his funeral. Out of honesty, Ethan told his brothers that their father had left behind a trust, and that although it was meant for him, he believed all brothers had a right to it. Greed stirred in their hearts, and they urged Ethan to bring it back and divide it equally. Ethan did exactly that. When he opened the chest in Baghdad, he was stunned to find documents of valuable market shops, his mother's jewelry, and large amounts of gold. Staying true to his character, Ethan gave each brother their share and lived simply with his own portion. Time moved on and reality revealed itself. One brother collapsed under debt due to poor decisions and had to sell his house. Another, once addicted to luxury, was caught stealing and sent to prison, destroying his reputation. The remaining brothers also failed repeatedly. Whatever they touched turned to dust. It felt like a silent answer to how they had treated their father. On the other hand, Ethan started a small business in Baghdad, trading fine fabric and selling it in the market, slowly building success through honesty and hard work, much like a small trader rising steadily in cities such as Chicago or Toronto. With time, he earned enough to buy back the shops his brothers had lost, eventually becoming the sole owner of the market. The same brothers who once looked down on him now came to Ethan's door asking for help. Ethan, kind-hearted and compassionate, never turned them away empty-handed. His behavior reflected the values his father had taught him. Eventually, Ethan bought a large home in a developed area of Baghdad and lived a comfortable, peaceful life with his wife and children. Even at the height of his success, he would remember his father and say that his prayers had made him wealthy, but life without his father's shadow still left a deep sadness in his heart. He prayed that God grant his father the highest place in paradise. This story leaves us with powerful lessons. Parents carry the responsibility of raising children with values and character, not just ambition. As children, we should never see our parents as a burden, because time turns quickly and one day we may stand in the same place, hoping for love and attention. Treating parents with respect, kindness, and compassion not only brings peace and success in this life, but also endless rewards in the hereafter. No matter what, serving one's parents is a duty, because their prayers are the greatest wealth a person can ever have. If this story moved you and taught you something meaningful, support the channel, share it with others, and leave your thoughts in the comments because your opinion truly matters.